Girl's Guide to Life is an A to Z guide for women of all ages to do everything better, faster, cheaper. It's basically how I live my life. Everything that I do and everything that I've done to be successful and to live a healthier, happier life. And I was inspired to write it because of so many reasons. You know, I get stopped in malls and in airports by women all the time, and they always ask me something different. They're always asking me, you know, how did you lose the weight? How did you keep it off? How do you juggle so many jobs? How do you do it all? And so I remember distinctly having a lunch with a very successful woman once who I looked up to and was a mentor of mine. And she took me to lunch, and I thought she was taking me to lunch to ask me about work and talk about things like that. And she literally leaned over to the table and she goes, "How do you do it?" And I go, "What do you mean?" She goes, "How do you do it? How do you do everything that you do and still get your hair colored and still get your nails done?" I'm like, "Oh," I can tell you that. And I find myself, I love sharing information with women and I love helping women, and I'm constantly sharing information. So it kind of felt like the right time to put it all together into one book. I haven't always had it together. I struggled with organization. I was a slob. I struggled with food and trying to figure out how to eat healthy on the go. And I struggled with my weight. And so now that I've been exposed to the best experts from around the world and the biggest stars, I've learned so much. And I'm happy to be able to share it with everybody.
It's a wonderful book.
Yes, my mom and I did the recipes together. I had some, she had some, and then at the end I go, "Mom, you know, I kind of want something new to spice it up." So she created the eggplant roll-up on the fly, and I go, "Mom, this is delicious." And then she created the quinoa salad with some red apple, and it was so fun because she's very creative. My grandfather was a chef in Greece. My mom used to work in school cafeterias, and she actually cooked for thousands of kids a day. So she knows how to pump out quantity, and she knows how to do quality. Don't obsess over it. My basic philosophy over food and eating is don't obsess. You know, I just left a bar eating nachos, watching the Celtics game before I got here, and I'm not going to obsess. Tomorrow I'm going to eat clean. I'm going to have salads and fresh fruit. You don't have to deprive yourself. You just have to keep balance. And, you know, I think when you do deprive yourself, you end up doing so much worse. And don't obsess about your weight. If you have a problem, tackle it in a very, you know, methodical way, but not in a way where you're saying you're on a diet. You know, I talk about that in the book. I was never on a diet when I was losing weight. I was just cutting back because I wanted to be healthier. And that's the key to all of this. And the biggest thing I can say about my basic message is you want to be healthier. It's not about being skinny or fitting in a certain size, because you're never going to be happy. Women are just, we're all nuts anyway with weight. But, you know, the reality is we should want to be healthy. And I learned that from my dad, who's 67 and been type 1 diabetic for over 40 years. And he has no side effects from his disease. And that's because he's eaten pure food his whole life. Fruits and vegetables, very little carbs, very little meat. And when I look at people in line at the pharmacy, you know, they're getting 4 and 5 prescriptions for things they can control. You know, there are things, I know, we have all the diseases in my family. There are things you can't control, but there are things that you can. And I don't want to be in that pharmacy line at 40 or at 50 or at 60 getting all of these prescriptions. And I know that I can control a lot of that with my choices now as a young person as far as my diet. Absolutely. I actually just noticed, I think the Door Gym went on sale for like $20. So you can get it, I think it's called All True, and it's on Amazon. You really can get a full body workout on there. And it's funny, I was on the Today Show the other day, and Tamron Hall was there, and I put my foot in the bottom half, the lower resistant bands, and I started doing my legs. I started doing inner and outer thigh and butt, and she goes, "I didn't know you could do that." And I actually show you at bing.com/Maria. Bing was a sponsor of the book, and we did over 40 video tips. So you have the book, but then I also do video tips, and I show you from start to finish how I do my makeup in the morning for work, and I actually show you the gym workout. You can do your biceps, your triceps, your shoulders, your chest. You can do your abs, you can do your legs, you can do your butt, you can do every body part with that over-the-door gym, and it takes up no space. It's convenient. It's in your office or your house. So in between conference calls, if you've got 10 minutes, do your bicep curls and get them out of the way. And then in between the next conference call, get, you know, your legs done. And you can do this in your office. And I think it's so convenient. And I actually take those cables with me, a single cable with me on the road to do workouts. Or I just do my Lazy Woman's workout, which is so much fun as well. Well, it's funny. I've had so many people in my life that have gone through tough times, depression or addictions or, just tough times, and they can't pull themselves out of it. And I've always suggested volunteering because I've met like-minded people when I volunteered. When you, especially like just even in general, dating is just difficult. What are you going to meet somebody at a bar? And then you're like, well, where am I going to meet them? If I don't meet them at work and you don't want to date someone at work, I always tell people, go volunteer. You'll meet someone who's got the same kind of values as you, someone who's spending their time doing something good for someone else, which is someone you want in your life. But if you're battling depression, doing something good for someone else makes you feel good. It makes you feel valuable and important at a time when you don't feel that. So that's why I think volunteering is so important. And you doing good only just spreads really good karma around you. I think it's really important for girls and for women to love themselves. I know that maybe because we put ourselves last a lot, we kind of think of ourselves like that. And, when you read this book, I think from the reaction I'm getting from women and girls is that they've been inspired to make changes in their lives. And I hope that continues, because to me, that was the ultimate goal of the book, is to be able to share this really great knowledge and really great information that's helped me. When you're struggling, it's not easy and you need someone to help. And so I hope that this helps women get their lives in order and be able to achieve the things that they want to achieve and attack the goals that they want to go after. And, just remember to love yourself and to know that wherever you're at in life, in your career or your weight or whatever, you're gonna get there. Just have faith in yourself and just stay the course and focus on the positive in your life and keep the vampires away and keep the Sunshine Committee around you.